Magical Muskets is like half control and half just like yeeting your entire board onto the field. Like you can't.
What is up, all you beautiful people? It is I, AkemiTCG, back here with a brand new video. We have a special guest with us today. We have Alex B back from the Yugi panel.
How's it going, everyone?
And I received an interesting comment from my top 5 budget decks May 2020 video. Could you do a guide on how to adapt Magical Musketeers for this meta? Should it be built as a go first or going second deck? Thanks, much appreciated. So I said I could hit up one of my buddies for discussion for that deck, and he says, that's so cool, would love that. So far my build destroys Eldritch, struggles with breaking boards with Savage and Herald, but the hardest deck I auto lose to is the Water Hand Loop deck with Minstrel and Double Dragon Search, Dragoon Search. So basically Mermail Hand Looping combo. So I decided to reach out to Alex because he's actually the guy that I dragged back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And I gave him the Musket deck to fiddle around with, and he's been kind of working on it since. How do you feel about the deck right now in the current state?
Once the new format dropped, I kind of took a break just because it just doesn't work per se. Magical Musket is a good going second breaking board deck, but right now, Eldritch and Emancipator running around, there's just too much because especially with Judgment and Warning, both at 3, your normal summon gets stopped easily, and that's the inherent part of your deck. So it's not really the best format unless they magically release Red Reboot from the ban list.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Like, I feel like even when you play Muskets, you would main 3 Red Reboot, right?
Oh, of course, easily.
Alright, so you have a kind of updated deck list. It's not obviously complete 100% per se, but you have something for the meta, right?
Per se, yeah. I mean, a lot of the meta nowadays is just having the right side cards, because I found that Musket does well against most rogue to lower strategies. It's just when the meta you have to be more specific with your side decks and knowing what to target.
Okay, so let's go right into it. Let's skim over the commonly played cards, and let's go right into your meta choices and why you play such cards. And then we can talk about the meta and more if you want. Sound good?
Sure.
Cool.
Of course.
So here is your current list. Not perfect, but you play the one Yugioh, the one... I haven't seen anybody play this card yet. The Wild?
The Wild is just there. It comes up later. It's basically, what's it called? The Disciples of True Draco, I believe. Lets you recycle, only it's a monster form. I use it because it's an extra name. Because when I was playtesting, I found that I would half the time not draw a Magical Musket, which looks surprising, but it happens.
It's unfortunate because there's not too many good Magical Muskets.
Oh yeah, you can see I've maximized the good ones.
The 3, obviously the 3 Starfire, 3 Kid Brave. He looks sick, by the way. Double
Kid Brave is good. I was just gonna say the majority of my playtesting and actually playing competitively was during the Spiral format back in like January, February timeline, and that was a perfect meta to test out going second Magical Musketeer, because they would just set up boards, but you could just easily out it with the Dark Roller no more. So if that's the most important card of the deck half the time.
Yeah.
But with like Judgment running around and whatnot, it's just a lot harder to get around that.
So
but I did run a lot.
Yeah.
I did run a lot of expensive cards there. Lightning Storm, I had literally most of my main deck was like 3 Lightning Storm, 3 Pot of Extravagance, 3 Evenly Matched, 3 Dark Roar, 3 Infinite Permanents. I spent like $600 trying to make this deck good, and I just missed out on top cut. I got up to like table 10 and then got wrecked by a ABC player. So it just sometimes you just can't win them all.
The problem with this deck is there's also like a lot of losing matchups. Like I feel like any control deck, like pure control deck that does a lot to your summons, like let's say you normal summon Caspar, or maybe just warning it, or somehow bounce it back to your hand before you get to resolve the effect, that just sucks.
Yeah, the amount of times that I was compulsed on my normal summon, it was infuriating. So as long as it depends, like Magical Musket is a very iffy strategy half the time. It really depends on what's being commonly played. Like, For example, if you're playing like a deck that draws a lot, and then there's Droll running around in the format, you can't really play. But once that comes out, you can go back into it. It's the same thing with Muskets. If there's not a lot of control and not a lot of recursion, you do really well. If it turns into like a beatdown format, you win because Magical Muskets is like half control and half just like yeeting your entire board onto the field. Like you can't recover very well with this deck, unfortunately. I've noticed.
Yeah, it's like it's pretty much all or nothing. Like that's why they call it Desperado, right? Literally all or nothing.
I never thought about that, but you're not wrong.
All right, 3 obviously triple Ash. In the 1 instant fusion, I'm assuming you're gonna pick up a Millennium Eyes.
I have one. It's just not on this list because I just forgot. But
Yeah.
the extra deck is still being tinkered with right now, just because like that's the most important part of the deck. After you go into max, you need more plays because your main deck doesn't bring a whole lot of a punch. Most of your punch comes from the extra deck.
Absolutely.
But I would have I was thinking with instant fusion at 1, you could potentially sack it for like Theseus into Borrowed Savage because most of your monsters are level 3 that you run the majority of. Like obviously there's people thinking about like, well, why is there Avermax? Why no Masquerena? Why no Nightmare cards? It's just I constantly change them around because like I said, it just depends on the meta and what's happening, and I still can't decide per se right now.
Right, so they're like just open spots, and obviously for all you viewers there too, this is very developmental, just under testing, but I just wanted to answer the question for you guys and maybe give a little bit of insight as to how to make Muskets potentially better going forward.
So as for what I would wish for, you need like a Prankertrops or like a Cyber Dragon-esque Musket card, because you're heavily reliant on your normal summon, and be able to special summon one would be fantastic. But I don't see that being printed anytime in the future, but that would be like the hope for card. But as far as like what I expect, like how you can make it better, I mean, there's always the classics. Just throw all the meta cards in there. Like you can have like a synchro engine of some form, like tuning engine to get into Needle Fiber into Aurora and all that nutty plays. Like just throw 3 Jet Synchron and 3 tuning, and you can make your deck infinitely better. I personally don't like doing that, but it's an obvious answer. The other answer is that I found finding niche strategies that no one really knows get that shock factor. It usually can get you a first game, and then from there you can easily get a second or a third match victory. I personally don't like any hand traps that much. That's why there's not many in here. Like I sometimes debate the Ash Blossom per se, but it's the most versatile one. But you want to be able to maximize yourself going second, which isn't that hard right now, because most deck strategy I've noticed want to go first. But I would suggest if you're comfortable with it, running more hand traps just to be able to play the game. I mean, you can cut down on some of the spell and traps, or like swap out Evenleads for like Ghost Ogre, Droll, Moonlit Chill, anything you see fit. I just maximize for when I go second. Can I just destroy my opponent's board, or can I sack a Dark Ruler, basically?
Right. That's just kind of how it is at this point in the game state, where the top decks running around Adamancipator, Eldritch, obviously, Eldritch combo, and they make boards. That's just how it is. That's just how it's going to be. You can potentially win locals with this deck, obviously, because you're not going to see as many Adamancipator or Eldritch, just depending on your locals. But as of right now, it just seems like this deck has many hard matchups, and they're all meta relevant at the moment.
Yeah, not necessarily as much meta or bad matches, more as bad cards that everyone's playing.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Like if you're going second and you get stopped in your normal summon, which is a ton of strategies that can do that, you can't really play after that. You'd have to, like, I debated running like double summon or something like that just to be able to be able to play the game. That was the hard part. That's why I would lose most of my games, actually, is that I would either A, not draw Magical Musket Muster and still not be able to play the game, or B, just the normal summon gets stopped and you're like, alright, pass the turn, and then it'll OTK you on the next turn. It's just that's why Evenleads and Dark Rulers are very important right now for going second. If you're going first, you could mix it with like a small engine that special summons.
Yeah.
Like off the top of my head, like I even saw some crazy strategies like Magical Musket Tenyi, which I know you're a fan of Tenyi, which is a good option moving forward. I need to look more into it. You can cut down on like some of the hand traps, or can be cut out for more going first cards if you wanted that. Like you could also play Judgment, you can also play Warnings if you want, because if you stop your opponent and they can't do much, you can just it could be easier to go third in that case against your opponent.
Summon Limit is also really good right now too.
It's a lot of floodgate cards are really strong right now if you go first. Like I tried playing yesterday and some guy just flips like there can only be one, or like Skill Drain for some weird reason. People still run that. Just floodgates are really strong right now.
Yeah, Skill Drain is dummy good. Like in the correct deck, it's really good.
Yeah, I agree. So I don't know. Like, or you can see in my side deck down below. There's anti-spells and artifact sanctums. Just if you can stop your opponent from playing the game, which is not really the most interactive session, but if you stop your opponent from playing the game, that's how you win basically nowadays. I don't know how. I don't know about you, but I don't see many back and forth games nowadays anymore.
Yeah, the just a quick just a discussion here is.
Of course.
If you're playing back and forth, it's most likely control versus control. It's usually not combo versus combo that does it back and forth. And usually with combo, it's whoever pulls off the combo first and makes a board of negation has it. Or if they make a board of negation and it's somehow outed, then they're still going to get OTK that turn, unless it was via Dark Ruler. And even then, even if you Dark Ruler them, then you just break their board. A lot of combo decks just don't have enough gas to keep going. Like all their stuff is in the graveyard, they can't recur it back. So it's either control versus control. You have some back and forth here just to see who activates the trap first. It's a little bit more skillful in that setup or setting. And then you have combo versus combo, where you make the board. One person makes the board. Other person is like, can I break it? Yes. Proceed to win that turn or win the next turn afterwards. If I can't break it, I lose. That's just kind of the game state, or that's kind of how I see the game at this moment in time.
Yeah, that's unfortunately just there's so many powerful cards nowadays. That's just the case. There's so many blowout cards you can run on turn one to do certain things like that. It's just a little annoying, but at that point, if you wanted to fix it, you'd have to start all over and play some rush duels or something. So I don't recommend that. But
all right, this video has been sponsored by Duel Links.
Duel Links. Oh man, it's been a while since I played that.
But anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this little mini discussion on muskets and enjoyed the edits that I've made. Thank you again, Alex, for joining.
Oh yeah, thanks again for having me. I appreciate it.
And thank you again for the comments. If you want to see any particular decks that you want me to have a discussion about, or you want me to call someone to be like, hey, yo, is this deck good? Please let me know down in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you get notified in every single video. Bye, guys. Stay safe.
The world ends now.